Welcome everyone to the Networking Masterclass session for May. Thanks everyone for joining. We're just going to get people seated here and get comfortable. We're going to wait just a few minutes for a few more attendees to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So if you're just seeing this now, you have a couple more minutes to go ahead and grab a cup of coffee or beverage, get comfortable, and we'll be starting in just several minutes. Welcome everyone joining us for the Networking Masterclass. We'll be starting in just a minute. All right, welcome everyone to the Networking Masterclass webinar for May. I'm Dave Potter, and just before we get started, I'll cover a few details to let you know about the format of the webinar and what's to expect. So this is the Networking Masterclass for Citrix, where we talk about all things about the Citrix networking products, the ADC and gateway, as well as a little bit of SD-WAN. Before we get started today, there's just a few things for housekeeping I'd like to address. This seems to come up quite frequently in chat, and I can understand why. But basically, if you're having trouble hearing this audio portion, you may find it a little bit better to try either computer audio or a phone call, depending on your area and your connectivity. So if you're having trouble hearing me, or perhaps you can't hear me at all, there is audio right now, you may want to check your voice option and change it to one or the other. If you're not seeing a phone number listed for a number to call into, there are additional numbers listed under the problem dialing in dialog box in the webinar dashboard. Next, this webinar is not the same without your participation, and we love to have your feedback and we love to have your questions while the presenters go over the different topics. So if you have something that comes to mind, maybe a question or a thought, and you'd like to have one of us answer your question, then please post your questions in the Q&A panel. That's the questions panel in the webinar dashboard, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can. If for some reason we're unable to get back to you right away on the webinar, feel free to email us at networkingmasterclass@citrix.com, and we'll try to get back to you offline and separate from the webinar. Finally, this session is being recorded, so if you need to get up and take a break, or perhaps you can only attend a portion of this session, or perhaps some of the content you found in this session was so good that you'd like to share with some of your colleagues, we will be sending a link at the end of this session so that you can download or watch this webinar at your leisure after we conclude for today. So rest assured, this session is recorded, and you'll be able to review the content again after the webinar. In addition to this recording, we will also send a link to the slides that'll be used or presented and shared throughout this session. So who's with us today? I'm your host, Dave Potter, and I'm glad to be joining us, or I'm glad to introduce, and joining us today is Vinod and Mayur from Product Management. These two will be talking all about the Citrix Core ADC. So if you're curious, what is the core ADC and what makes up that breadth? Well, these are all the traditional features that you'd find in a typical load balancer. So think about upgrade procedures, traffic management features, SSL features. These are the things that you pretty much need to use anytime you deploy an ADC. So today's topic will be all about what's new with Citrix ADC 13.0, what's new and what are some of the new use cases for traffic management, and what are some of the enhancements that we've done to minimize downtimes when doing an upgrade to your existing ADCs. Finally, I'll cover a little bit about what's happening coming up. We're right on the heels of our big customer event, Synergy, and that'll be happening at the end of May. And I have a lot of details that I'd love to share about that at the end of the webinar. And finally, the prize giveaway. For those that stick around toward the end, we'll be giving away a brand new prize on this session. It is a Samsung Galaxy smartwatch. So we've never given one of these away before. If you have an Android device, you'll be very happy to know that this smartwatch is one of the prize jewels for Android watches. I think it's really exciting, and I'm really happy to have it as a giveaway today. So stay tuned throughout the webinar. In order to win the prize giveaway, I'll be asking a question that will be presented by one of the presenters and on one of the topics that's presented today. So basically, you don't have to pay attention 100%. I'll try to make the question as intuitive as possible, but keep your ears peeled and tuned in, and be ready to win the prize giveaway at the end of the webinar. Cool. So with that, who's with us today? And I love this part because it really shows the wide audience and the breadth that we have of people joining us. So we have great participation today from those in Latin and South America, from Costa Rica, Argentina, Peru, Colombia, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Spain, and Trinidad. Joining us from some of the larger groups are participating from Canada. Glad to have you with us today, and Brazil and Mexico. And then today, our largest audience happens to be from the United States. It should go without surprise since the webinar is hosted in the USA. But just so you know, I want to thank everyone from all countries in the Americas. I'm very happy and excited that you're able to join us today. It's really exciting to see the amount of participation that we get and the interest that we get in the topics for our webinars. So I mentioned the prize giveaway. It's the Galaxy smartwatch. This is how it looks. Stay tuned throughout the webinar, and I'll be asking a question at the end for your opportunity to win the prize giveaway. So there will be an upcoming release beta. I will probably rerun this a little bit later so that you have an opportunity, but just be aware that we do have ADM release 13.0 in beta, and we'll be covering that in just a moment with our presenters. So with that, I'd like to bring on our first presenter, Vinod. Let me see if I can bring you up here, Vinod. I think I have you on mute. Yep, I see you unmuted now. Vinod, are you with us? Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing you. We're still having trouble hearing you, Vinod. Perhaps if we want, perhaps you can change your audio real quick. So while we bring Vinod on, just to cover a little bit in advance of what he'll be presenting on, Vinod will be covering to us all the fascinating new things that we're doing in Release 13.0 when it comes to upgrades. So this is brand new stuff. I think it's really exciting because it covers, basically the ability to do an upgrade with no downtime. So this is a brand new feature for us with the Citrix ADC, and I'm very excited that Vinod will be covering that for us in just a moment. So with that, I'd like to try to bring you back online again. Vinod, are you with us?
Yes, Dave. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you loud and clear. Shall I make you a presenter?
Yes, please make me present.
Okay, and you have it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. I hope everyone can see my screen. Hi folks, very good morning. I'm excited to meet all of you here at MasterClass. My name is Vinod. I'm part of product management team. I have Mayur with me, who is a product manager in traffic management. Together, we will be presenting on what are the recent additions to Citrix Core ADC. I'll be speaking about the nitty-gritties of smooth upgrade experience, and we'll also be speaking about the top 3 upgrade issues you should watch out for while upgrading. While Mayur will be focusing on the recent SSL updates and traffic management features. So before starting, we are happy to announce that the beta for 13.2 is available for your consumption. You can download the beta from the share file folder. Your feedback will be very valuable to us to make corrections in the upcoming 13.2 GA build. Please provide your feedback after trying out the beta build in the Podio link. You can also have a look at the features that got released in this beta in the release notes, which is available in the docs folder in the share file. So we are looking forward for your feedback. Now moving to the agenda, we have a jam-packed agenda for you. So this is what we have in plan to cover today. We will look at the usual suspects for issues while performing upgrade. So if you are an admin and performing upgrade on a regular basis, this section will be very useful for you guys. We will also look at in-service software upgrade, a very useful and important feature for you to understand. We will see why in-service software upgrade is needed, what are all the existing problems. We will also look at deeper into ISSU by understanding the flow and when ISSU in progress, and also see a quick demo of how ISSU is performed through graphical user interface in Citrix ADC. We have interesting SSL updates. We have details on Azure Vault integration, dynamic SNI support, DTLS updates, which will be covered by Mayur. We also have exciting GSLB updates and update on a new feature, proxy protocol, which will be again covered by my friend Mayur. Now, getting to the topics, what are the usual suspects in issues when it comes to upgrading? We'll have a look at them now. So one of the common reasons for update failure is in Citrix ADC is lack of disk space, which eventually leads to an error. This is caused by having old builds or old files in the disk space, so there is no room for an upgrade. This is quite a common problem that is seen across admins. So make a note of this. So next time when you are doing an upgrade, make sure that you check the disk space and then perform an upgrade so that your upgrade is not failed. So when doing an removal of files, customers have to log into Citrix ADC to delete the unwanted files. Administrators who are not familiar with this command line interface process or ways to delete the files using tools like WinSCP will find it difficult to upgrade. So we have added a provision to check the disk space that is available, which helps the administrators to have an idea of the space that is available in the system. And then you also have an option to clean up the disk space when there is overload of files in your system. So for after you check, it is also you can search the file that you want to delete, and you can identify the folder file in through the current directory, and then go and delete the file by clicking the delete option here. And now coming to what are the files that you can delete. More often than not, people don't know what to delete. The first thing you can do is you can delete your old builds, which is no longer be used. You can also delete the logs files, which is very old. Make sure that you check the timestamp of the log files and then start deleting files which are not needed. So these are the common files that you can delete. we have an article that is published. So this will help you to identify the files to delete in case if you are facing a insufficient disk space. So this option to delete the files through GUI is added in 13.0 beta release. You can try it out and then provide your comments as well. Now moving to the next suspect, we see upgrade failure due to customization as another common reason for upgrade failure. So if you are working on a feature like Netscaler, product like Netscaler Gateway, then there is a good chance that you will be doing customization. So please make sure that you remove the customization before performing an upgrade. Here I have added a couple of examples where you can see how the customization has led to problem. This is an example of a support case. So here you can see the reason why is because of the way customization is implemented. When you create customization zip file, zipping up the Netscaler GUI as well as VPN pages. So with this upgrade, this customer has faced a problem. This is because of the customization that has happened before. This is another example where the solution is to remove the customization in order to make upgrade safely. Here the customization is done on the logo. So again, a solution is to remove the customization. Another example where customization in user interface GUI has led to problem. After performing checks, we found out that there is customization on the appliance, which is calling it to fall back to UI of 10.5 after every reboot. Here again, we remove the customization and it solved the problem. So if you are doing an upgrade, make sure that you see if there are any customizations and then take appropriate changes to make sure that your upgrade is not failing. Now coming to the third suspect, upgrading directly to the latest version and skipping any previous versions. This is also another common thing that we see from customers. If you are upgrading, make sure that you upgrade to the next version, next recent version, and then move on from there. Say if you are in 10.0, move to 10.1, then 10.5. So this following this procedure will make sure that you don't hit any issues while doing upgrade. So these are some of the common problems that customers face when it comes to upgrading. Again, we are going to speak about a very interesting feature, which will be very useful if you are an admin. There is in-service software upgrade. This is a feature which will enable you to make sure that there is no session drop during upgrade. Let us speak about this more in detail. So before going there, let us first meet Mr. John and Mr. James. Mr. James is the architect of onlinecart.com, an e-commerce company that has a strong user base of 50 million registered users in India, and is responsible for availability of the website for this large customer base. Say hi to Mr. James. And Mr. John is an administrator for onlinecart.com. Is responsible for managing and maintaining application delivery controllers in the data center. And John is also responsible for making sure that the website meets the standard of 99.999% service level agreement. Also, with festival season coming soon, the downtime will lead to heavy revenue impact on onlinecart.com. It was identified that website downtime also leads to customer churn to other websites. So now the architect James, he has decided to upgrade the application delivery controller in his data center to get the benefits of the recent features improvements that is done in Citrix ADC. Now that the festival season is about to start, customers are looking to buy jewelry, clothes, and other things from onlinecart.com. In order for customers to have best user experience, James has decided to upgrade the application delivery controllers in his data center as soon as possible. So now he is asking John to upgrade the Citrix ADCs to the recent version 13.0 so that they can leverage the benefits of the recent feature improvements. John is now under pressure to make sure that he has to meet the service level agreement. James is reminding him that the service level agreement has to be met. So now John is under pressure to make sure that there is no downtime during upgrade, so that he will be able to meet the service level agreement. So in reality, very critical and sophisticated services, they require very high uptime. We have seen customers serving uptime of 99.9999%. So in these kind of scenarios, the network cannot be down more than 32 seconds per year. So they are looking for almost zero downtime. So how will customers upgrade their devices in this situation? How will Mr. John solve this problem? So this is where in-service software upgrade will come into picture and comes to Mr. John's rescue. In-service software upgrade ensures that there is no session drop during the upgrade process with ISSU. So now John will be able to upgrade with zero downtime. So the use case here is allow customers to reliably upgrade software in a HA pair without having any session drop during the process. So this is the use case that is addressed by ISSU. Let us look at the problem that was existing in ADC before 13.2. So this is a typical upgrade process. You have sessions going via NS1, which is the primary device. The red line marked here is the session that is going through the primary. Usually for upgrade, we go and upgrade the passive device first. So NS2 is the secondary device. So we go and upgrade this NS2, and then we'll do a force failover. Force failover will make the sessions that was running via NS1 to move to NS2. Now the red line is passing via the NS2 device, which is now the primary after force failover. Now we'll go and upgrade the NS1 device, so that both NS1 and NS2 will come in the same version. So this is a typical upgrade process to make sure that both NS1 and NS2 are in the same version. When we are doing the failover, there should be proper HA versioning. I'll explain more on HA versioning in the next slide. If you are using a standalone deployment, this in-service software upgrade is not available. The focus is now only on the high availability deployments here. So coming to the HA version, so this is the HA behavior for different scenarios. We use an internal term called HA version to see if different software versions work in HA pair. The HA versions can be different for different software versions. Whenever there is a major data structure change happening between two releases, the HA version changes between the builds. So this is a quick comparison of how Netscaler works when there is a same HA version and different HA version. So when there is a same HA version, everything works fine between the builds. Config propagation works between HA and primary and secondary. Config synchronization works. The state session sync works, and then connection failover is also working properly. If there is a mismatch in HA version, then everything will get auto disabled. Config propagation, config synchronization, the runtime session sync will get auto disabled. So this is so even if you have connection failover enabled, there are going to be some problems which we'll see in the next slide. So even when you have the same HA version, connection failover is supported only for a handful of vServers. You have a big list of vServers which doesn't support connection failover. So all these sessions that are coming in this vServer will have a problem. So we need a solution which is agnostic of all these vServers. So this is where in-service software upgrade comes into picture. We don't rely on the vServer type. We will see how we are accomplishing this by understanding the flow. So now the traffic is coming as usual, like it's coming to the primary. The router sees only the primary. Traffic is going to the backend. Now, assume we have already upgraded the NS2, like the typical upgrade process. now we want to upgrade N1 primary, which is serving the traffic. So this is where we are enabling migration. This is a new CLI that got introduced in 13.0. After you enable migration, the primary device which was serving the traffic, now it will change to secondary, while the secondary will become primary. When this change happens, the new primary device will send a GARP request to the upstream and downstream routers, so that now the upstream and downstream routers will have MAC address of this device, so that all traffic will now land on the new primary. So the green line here indicates new sessions. New sessions now land on N2 and goes to the backend, while the old sessions will still be handled by the N1, which is now the secondary. This is because N1 will have the state of the old sessions, while N2 will not have the state of the old sessions. So N2 will understand that this is not its own session. It will steer it to N1, and N1 will process the traffic and send it to the backend. So we need to understand that the router here will see only N2 because the router has MAC information of N2. It is not seeing N1. N1 is considered as a passive device while it is still active, and it takes only the old sessions. It is not going to take any new session. While now we look at the reverse traffic, as I already mentioned, router will only see the N2 device. The reverse traffic will definitely land on N2. The N2 will steer the traffic to N1, which has processed this packet, and N1 will process it, and then it will send it to the clients. So this is how we are handling the intermediate period where we have old sessions. Now, once the old sessions have slowly trickled down to 1 or 2 sessions, and eventually that is also vanished, now you can go ahead and upgrade N1, and N1 will also come in the same version. So now we have N2 and N1 both in the same version, while we did not have any session drop during this entire process. This is the magic of ISSU. Now James and John are happy. Some common questions that we see in ISSU: what is the interface that is used for steering? We use the sync VLAN for steering the traffic between primary and secondary, and the interface can be selected based on the sync VLAN, and that can be used. Who will own the VIPs after migration? The VIPs will be owned by the new primary after migration. As I already mentioned, the new primary will update its GARP information to the upstream and downstream router. So the routers will see only the new primary. So the VIPs will be owned by the new primary after migration. So how both nodes are active during this transient time? So during this transient time, only new primary will be sending response to the router, while the secondary will process only the old sessions that is steered by the primary. All the new sessions will land on the new primary and will be processed by the new primary. So these are some of the questions that came in service software upgrade. If there are more questions, please post it in chat window. We will address this at the end of this part. Now coming to the changes in 13.0, we have added a CLI, the migrate ns command, which is a new CLI. It got added specifically for ISSU. And in GUI changes, you have migrate, new button that is added, which will be available under the system tab. So you can do your migrate there. So now we will look at how in-service software upgrade is done through the GUI through a series of snapshots. So assume we have both primary and secondary in same version. This is a primary device, as you can see, and you see it is in build NS 13.0 34.1501 NC. Now this is the secondary device in IP address ending with 83. It's a secondary device, and you see the build also in 34.1501. Now we are sending traffic to primary. There is traffic being sent here. Once the traffic is sent, you can see primary is serving the traffic. You can see the increase in throughput. Now we will go and upgrade secondary, which is the typical procedure that we do. While since secondary is not active, go to secondary, we'll do a system upgrade. We'll select the build. Here you have option to check the disk space before doing an upgrade, as I already mentioned before, to make sure that there is no upgrade failure. Once you identify there are no issues, you select the build, then you perform an upgrade. So now upgrade is done in secondary. Now secondary is in a different version compared to primary. Here you can see it is in 35.3003 and it is secondary. And see, traffic still is flowing in primary even after upgrade in secondary, which is not related to primary. So now we are coming to the important part where we are doing in-service software upgrade. I'm going to migrate the sessions in primary. So I'm checking the status of HA. This one is primary. I'm hitting the migrate button. Starting the migration. So as soon as migration button is clicked, the status is changed to secondary. And this is the as we saw earlier, 84 was primary earlier. Now it is secondary, but the traffic is still continuing. So even though it is secondary, you can see the traffic is being taken by the secondary device. Now we are going to initiate new sessions. So new sessions are started here. Once we start the new sessions, you can see in primary that there is an increase in throughput. You can see the new sessions are landing on primary, while we see that the secondary device, which is taking care of the old sessions, is continuing to take the old sessions. And now we'll go and stop the old sessions. Once we stop the old sessions, then the new secondary, which was taking the old sessions, will have zero throughput. You can see there is no session going now. So this is where you can go and upgrade the new secondary. You can check the disk space and then go ahead for a reboot with the new build. And now the new secondary is also on the same version. So with this, you can see both primary and secondary are in the same version, and we made sure that there is no session drop during this process. So let me see if there are any questions.
Yeah, Vinod, there was a lot of questions. So there's a huge interest in this feature. I think one that has come up more than most is around pre-check for conditions to do the upgrade. So is there a pre-check before the migration and upgrade is done to make sure that the amount of free space is available?
Yeah, so right now the pre-check has to be done manually. We have added a button to check the disk space that is available in the system before doing an upgrade. You can check the space available manually, and then we have added an option to go and delete the files which are not needed, and you can delete it via the graphical user interface as well. This is a new feature that we added in 13.0.
Fantastic. And then another one that's come up quite a bit is about the time it takes to do a transition, or the transient time. How long is the transient time? Or is there a recommended time?
Yeah, so this transient time is going to remain as long as there are old sessions that are going via the new secondary, because the new secondary will be taking the old sessions only after the old sessions are completely becoming zero. You can go ahead and start doing an upgrade in the new secondary. So as long as there are old sessions that are there in the system, the device will be in secondary, and the device will still be taking the traffic.
Great. And then maybe the last one would be on which type of vServers are supported. So is ISSU available to gateways services or gateway users? And also, do we support vServers using VMAC instead of GARP?
Okay, so here this is agnostic of vServers. This is available for gateway as well. And for condition specific for with VMAC, right? Those are addressed by in-service software upgrade. We have listed down all the cases where we are using VMAC, and we have taken care that there is no session drop for those kind of use cases as well. So it is applicable for all types of vServers, and we are addressing the use cases for VMAC as well.
Fantastic. And then maybe the last one, when is this going to be an ADM?
Okay, so right now we are planning to have an automated process in ADC itself, where once the session connection table becomes 0, the upgrade should kick in. But eventually we are going to add this as part of ADM. Right now we are in the process of discussing with ADM PMs to prioritize this and add it as part of roadmap. We are still in the process of discussion, but we will be getting this this upgrade process done automated via ADM as well in the future.
Cool. I think that covers most of the questions. There was some fantastic questions there, so very good for everyone. Thanks so much for chiming in. I think there's still a few more there in the Q&A panel, Vinod, so if you don't mind after your presentation to follow up with some of the remaining questions, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely, Dave. I'll look into it. Yeah.
All right, so I guess at this part, are we ready to change it over?
Yeah, please make Mayur as the presenter.
All right. All right, thanks so much, Vinod. So Mayur, I'm gonna bring you up to presenter. And let's see if we can get you off mute. Okay, we have you unmuted.
Hey, Dave.
All right, we see your screen.
Can you hear me, Dave?
We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Mayur Patil. I am from product management team and basically look after the traffic management update. So today we have a very cool update on SSL and the traffic management. I am pretty sure that you are going to like that. So let me jump on the SSL update first, and then we'll walk through the traffic management update. So first feature that we have added for you in the SSL is Citrix ADC integration with the Azure Vault. Citrix ADC appliance integrates with the external HSMs, which are hardware security models such as SafeNet, Thales, but that are for the on-premise deployment. But for the cloud deployment, we have a Azure Key Vault. So why anybody need to have a Azure Key Vault integration? So Azure Key Vault is a central management where all the crypto private keys are stored, which gives you the more security and easy of management for the public cloud deployment. With this terminology, you don't have to store that key on your deployment. Azure Key Vault will take care of that. So from use case point of view, we are saying that if you want to secure your private key using the Azure Key Vault, which is giving you the central management, and if you want to have a FIPS 142 compliance, this is the best solution. So here we are saying that VPX integrates with the Azure Key Vault, and you can have this Citrix ADC deployment either in the on-premises or in the Azure cloud. On the right hand side, we can see that that there is a Azure cloud, and in Azure cloud, this Azure Key Vault is in place. Now I'm going to deploy the Citrix ADC in the Azure cloud. So before contacting to the app server for the application data, Citrix ADC is going to talk to the Azure Key Vault for getting the private keys or completing the SSL handshake. And after successful handshake, Citrix ADC going to send the traffic to the application servers. This feature will be available in 30.0. So one thing to note is we have added this feature into the beta release. In the chat window, we have given you the link for testing the beta release. We request you, if you are interested And this feature, please go visit this beta release. All the documentation for particular to this feature is available, and please provide the feedback if you think something needs to be added more. So let me just talk about some terminologies that being used in the Azure Key Vault. When somebody talks about Azure Key Vault, first thing will come is that it is a cloud hosted, because it's using the Microsoft Azure cloud where this tool and the service is being hosted. It has a backup of the HSM. Then this is the place where all your secrets and the keys are stored. Hence, it is the central management system which gives you the control over your private keys. Good part is it is a FIPS 142 compliant. From access control, why do you need the access control here? Because this Azure Key Vault stores very sensitive and business critical data. So if anybody wants to access that key, you need to validate that. And to do the calls to this Azure Key Vault, REST APIs are being used. So let's see how exactly communication happens from ADC to the Azure Key Vault. First of all, before doing the SSL handshake, you need an access token from the Azure directory, and we call it as an authentication process. So this flow talks about how authentication workflow looks like. When administrator is going to talk to the Citrix ADC, it will ask for the Azure Key Vault, and immediately Citrix ADC will return the status. In the background, after some time, Citrix ADC is going to talk to the Azure directory, and it will get the access token. Now this access token will be used by the appliance when it's going to talk to the Azure Key Vault for getting the private key. And how is that? We will see in this handshake process. This is a complete RSA handshake. When client initiates a request with the Citrix ADC, it will, after the TCP handshake, it will send the client hello to the Citrix ADC. In return to the client request, Citrix ADC will return the server hello. When at the third step, when client is going to send the client key exchange, which is encrypted by the public key, has to get decrypted using the private key, which is stored into the Azure Key Vault. Hence, Citrix ADC will make a call to the Azure Key Vault, which has this key along with the access code that you have got from the previous workflow. Once you have that key, it will decrypt the response and send it back to the Citrix ADC. Now, Citrix ADC will respond to the CK through the server key exchange, where response is encrypted using the private key and send it to the client. After successful handshake, client will connect to the backend server through the Citrix ADC as our normal workflow. We have another exciting feature coming in 13.0, that is a dynamic SNI support in the backend. So what is the use case here? So when one particular application hosts multiple TLS applications through the single RIP, you need to have a dynamic SNI. Today, we have a static SNI support per service level, but it has a limitation. So what is the limitation? So let's say when client needs to access domain A and domain B at the same time, but due to the current limitation of the Citrix ADC, it cannot send the same SNI to the backend service, which is received from the SSL client, because we have a static configuration, and that is we have removed through the dynamic SNI support. So let's see on the right hand side how it's going to be. When client is going to talk to the Citrix ADC at V1, it will have a CNI as a abc.com. With the dynamic SNI support, same SNI is going to get transferred to the application server where that application is hosted. If another request with a different SNI, let's say xyz.net, is coming to the same web, it will have a capability now to send another SNI to the same application server for serving these two different applications. Again, this feature is available in the beta. If you are interested, if you like to know more about this feature, please go and use this feature. Here I'm just telling how you can enable this SNI either through the CLI and the GUI. In the GUI, I've just figured out like how you can do in the SSL. Same you can do for the service level also. So quickly, let me run through the ADT DTLS support summary. This ADT uses the DTLS for the secure UDP connection. Today, we have a DTLS 1.2 support across all the front-end and back-end on the different appliances. And what are these appliances? Here is the list. What new we have added? So here, ADT support on the Colito MPX was missing. And by adding that support, now complete stack is full. And why anybody need this ADT support? For the better user experience on the Zenap and Zenbase desktop, the VDI applications, where bulk data getting transferred, ADT is being prominently used. So that's why now our complete stack will help for enriching the user experience. So that's all we had from the SSA end. Now let me quickly go through the traffic management update. In the traffic management update, we have a very cool feature that is a DBS auto scaling. But before that, let me just talk about why do you need auto scaling of the service group. So when there is application servers which goes up and down dynamically, you need to reflect that changes into the Citrix ADC, which is managing that application farm. But how you have why after doing the why part, let's see what is that. The service group needs to include the new servers in the LP. As we have seen that the dynamically server farm may scale up and scale down, and that changes has to be reflected into the Citrix ADC. And how we are going to do that? So we have added new feature that is a DNS-based auto scaling, which will allow you to dynamically change the application server, that is a service group member, into the application box. And this feature is agnostic of the platform. You can use it on all the form factors. Typically talking about the use cases, you can use this feature either for the public cloud deployments or the private cloud deployments, even for the microservice application deployment also. So about the feature, so this domain-based server auto scaling was available in HA before, but new thing that we have added, this DBS auto scaling of the service group will be available in the cluster also. So what exactly it is going to be? Let's say when you talk to the name server will respond back with the list of IP addresses, and this list of IP addresses will act as a service group member to the VIP. And when next time, if you are going to connect with the name server, and if name server has a different list, whether it is scaled up or down, that change has to be reflected into the service group. And how it is going to be in place? Let's see the configuration here. So first of all, you will go and configure the service group. In the service group, here we have auto scaling mode, which you have to make it DNS. Once you create a service group, you have to add a service group member. In the service group member, select the server based and provide the information. Along with this cluster support, we have added two new things here. First is giving the option to the admin or the user to select the name server IP address. Initially, you did not have an option to provide the name server. So typically when you had a multiple name server, there was a challenge to specify which name server you should talk to. Now you can provide that information, and the TTL for that name server is now configurable using this profile. You don't have to go to that name server and configure the TTL, which is now possible through the Citrix ADC interface also from this page. Once you add that service member, you can see that now we have a 4 member. When another request is going to place for the name server, it may scale up or the scale down. Here from 4, it got changed to the 3, and it has already updated into the service group. So couple of updates on the GSLB front. So we have added some improvements into the GSLB. So in the GSLB, when sync is happening on the different version, sometimes you are not getting the proper error messages. What is the reason for aborting the sync? The sync doesn't happen if there are the different version detected. And going through the logs or the error messages, there was no way to figure out whether what was the reason behind that. So now we have added that option where you can see here when master is going to sync on with the site 2 and the site 3. Here site 2 has a different version than the master, hence sync has failed and appropriate error message has been listed for that site 2. And for the site 3, since sync has properly completed, you are getting the success message here. We have got a couple of feedback on the GSLB stats. Also, we got some feedback saying that GSLB is not happening as per the configured method. So after doing our analysis, we figured out that when primary method has failed, the backup GSLB method has come in picture. Or in some cases, primary method failed, secondary also, this backup GSLB method also failed, and default method come in picture. Or there was one more case where due to the persistent session, GSLB was not happening as per the configured method. So it was very difficult to understand and get the details of whatever the data that we have analyzed into the stats. So with this feature, now you can able to see what exactly has been failed, and we have added that stats. So if you go to the GSLB output stat, you can see that the highlighted portion where you will now find the reason for how many cases this primary LB method was failed, or for how many sessions there was a persistency. So this information will help you to understand what was the root cause. We have another feature on the user location getting from the Geolocation DB. Today, we cannot retrieve the user location, but we can just use the user location for the matching purpose. But what if you want to take policy-based decision based on the user location retrieved, or if you want to log the location stream for the future reference? All these are missing if you don't have a user location. So with this feature, you can now retrieve the user location. In the example, you can see that I have taken one example of location string where the North America.us.california.Santa Clara.Arizona.Citrix. This is the one location string. Now, on this string, if you want to do some rewrite or responder operation on substring, let's say on the California, in the second, from the below table, in the second row, we have given the option how you can take the substring out of the entire string and do some operation. We have one more feature which we are introducing in 13.0, that is a proxy protocol support. Why do you need a proxy protocol support? So when there is a chain of proxy deployment and you need to know the client IP from where traffic has originated at the application server end, that is sometimes impossible with the normal deployment because proxies will give their own address, and it is very difficult to get the client IP. Hence, proxy protocol comes in picture, which allows you to send the original client IP information at the backend server, which can be used for the logging or for the security purpose. Today, we have two alternatives to send the client IP. For HTTP type web, we send into the HTTP header, and for the TCP type web, we can send that client IP into the TCP payload. But for both the options, they are protocol specific. But this proxy protocol is a protocol agnostic. You can use it for the HTTP, TCP, FTP, or different form of our protocols. And this proxy protocol sends the first data after the connection established. From the CLI command, you can see that if you want to use this proxy protocol, we have given the option to enable or disable this proxy protocol through the net profile. Let's see the scenario where you want to forward the client IP to the backend server. So for that, the topology is the client is connecting to the HA proxy LB, and HA proxy is connected to the NetScaler, and at the backend of the NetScaler, we have a server. So the client IP, that is 10.106.137.110, has to be sent to the server for internal purpose. So how we are going to do that? So here we are going to use the proxy protocol, and this client IP is going to get forwarded to the server. So this is the forward use case. So for doing that, you have to go to the setting, to global setting, and you have to enable the proxy protocol. Once you do that, you have to go to the net profile. In the net profile, we have added option of the proxy protocol. You can make it enable and say done. Here I'm using the HTTP type vServer, and in the HTTP type vServer, in the profiles, I have bound that net profile to this vServer. Now, when HTTP client is going to send the request to the .101, which is HA proxy, after sending the request, you can see that it has replied back with the appropriate response. And if you go to the backend server and see the logs, you can see that .110, which is the IP of the client, has been registered and logged into the backend server. So with the proxy protocol, along with the forward case, we can insert the client IP information if it is not coming from the proxy which is in front of the Citrix ADC. So that's all I had from the traffic management update. I hope you have really liked the features that we have added for you. If you have any feedback or any questions, please do let us know. And let me again remind, please visit our beta release, and please try out all the features that we have given into the beta release. And in the feedback form, please provide the feedback. It will help us to enhance the feature list again. That's all from my side. Thank you.
All right.
Over to you, Dave.
Cool. Thanks so much, Mayur. That was very informational, a lot of new features. I think the big question is, and I saw this in the Q&A, perhaps you may have the answer, is are all of those features available in 13.0 or will some appear in 13.1?
Yeah, all are in 13.0.
Fantastic. So there you go. All those features are available with the initial release of 13.0. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Mayur, for the presentation. Very good content, and we very much appreciate it. If you could stick around and just check out the Q&A just to catch any remaining questions, it'd be much appreciated. Thanks. All right, so with that, thank you. That concludes the presentation portion. So thanks, Vinod and Mayur, for your content for both parts of the agenda today. And for now, I'd like to go into the conclusion part of the webinar and cover what else is happening across Citrix for the month, as well as what will be coming up next. So in the news and views, what's happening? Well, coming up right before Synergy, we have an SD-WAN webinar. Now, SD-WAN has been a topic that we have frequently on the Networking Masterclass, and I'm really excited about this webinar coming up on May 14th, just a week before Synergy. It's by a good colleague and peer of mine, Shoaib Youssef. He's a former TME and a solution architect, as we are now. And he's going to be covering a lot about what's new with SD-WAN. So we've had some of these topics on the Networking Masterclass before. If you've heard about SD-WAN Orchestrator, or perhaps you couldn't attend the session on the Masterclass on what that is and what it covers, then Shoaib will be going into fine details on what that SD-WAN Orchestrator product does and how it can work for you. So if you're interested in registering, I invite you to go to citrix.com/blogs if you pull down the topic for networking, or otherwise take a picture here and go to the following link. There's a link on this blog to register and sign up for the webinar just before Synergy. And with that, that brings me to the next topic, which is what's happening at Synergy. So I'm really excited. We've been very instrumental in releasing new features together with AWS. Citrix ADC and SD-WAN are available in the AWS marketplace. We have a number of features that integrate moving workloads from on-prem into the hybrid and multi-cloud, such as in AWS, as well as other cloud providers. But focusing just on AWS specifically, I'm excited because they will be coming and joining us at Citrix Synergy this year. So if you happen to be coming to Synergy or you have not yet registered, just be aware that AWS will be there. If AWS is a cloud platform that you're exploring or currently using, we have some content at Synergy featuring what's coming up and what's new and available in AWS. We'll also have a hands-on lab if you're interested, or if you're attending Synergy, there is a learning lab where you can sign up and get your hands-on experience deploying the Citrix virtual app and XenApps and XenDesktop services on Amazon EC2 environments. So if you're not signed up for Synergy, would love to see you come. We have a lot of great partners there, and AWS is not insignificant to us. So with that, the event itself. So Synergy is coming up May 21st through the 23rd. It's our first time in Atlanta, and we're looking for a great turnout there. We have a lot of content coming up at Synergy. If you're thinking maybe you're on the fence so far, or maybe it's not quite the networking event that you thought it would be, since the focus here is networking, I want you to know and be rest assured that we have a lot of networking content. In fact, we have more networking content at this Synergy than we had in many events past. So we have a number of learning labs, at least 4, that covered the different networking parts, from ADM to hybrid multi-cloud to SD-WAN, even cloud native networking, which is a topic that we've had before. So if you're interested in getting your hands on, exploring what Citrix can do in Azure, in AWS, as well as in Google, we have learning labs that cover all of those topics. We also have a number of booths available in the customer experience area and the expo hall, and a lot of breakout sessions covering everything from what's new in the ADC, as well as what we plan to do roadmap-wise. Now, Synergy being a focused event with customers, these presentations and the breakout sessions and the learning labs aren't just put on by marketing people and collateral. This is all stuff that's come together from the product teams themselves. So if you have the ability to make it to Synergy, it'd be great to see you there, because you'll have the opportunity to meet directly with those of us in the product team, both in product management and in engineering. And you'll be able to basically express yourself and understand what is our vision behind the product, what are the opportunities that we see, and we'd like to hear from you as well. What are your challenges? Where would you like to see the products go in the future? So this is really a two-way event. It's not just us showing you what's new there. We love the feedback as well. So if you have the opportunity and you haven't signed up yet, please make an effort. Come join us at Synergy. We would love to have you there and join us in the fun at Synergy. So with that, what else is going on? So we've got the product name changes. They're still happening. And my gosh, I keep hearing that three-letter word MAS, MAS, and it makes me cringe because we've been talking about ADM for quite a while. So if you still consider the product to be NetScaler, that's fine. We appreciate it. If you consider ADM to be MAS, that's fine. But just be aware that a lot of the product names have changed to align with the Citrix portfolio. So now going forward, we have the Citrix ADC, Citrix Gateway, Citrix ADM, or Application Delivery Manager, and the ADM service. So these new names are with us. I think they align, they look good, they're sleek, and they feel a lot more uniform because these products are really coming together under the Citrix brand and umbrella. So the name changes are happening and will continue to run. So what's happening next? So if you're curious about what's happening in June for the Masterclass, our topic will be exclusively on cloud native networking. So if you're wondering what cloud native is, if you're wondering, gosh, isn't that what I just saw with Azure with that Key Vault feature? Or isn't that what I just heard about with Citrix being in AWS? No, those are native cloud features. Just to be a little bit comical, but cloud native networking is all about the microservices. So this is about what Citrix is doing with Google Kubernetes, what we're doing in Google Cloud, and what we're doing in terms of being able to make it easier for you to support the adoption of microservices. What we understand from our customers is that many of our businesses or customers' businesses within other lines of business are exploring quickly or how to quickly deploy applications that sometimes shortcut or bypass the ADC simply because the time to deploy is so low. They need to get the service out immediately. And so in enabling that solution and by maintaining and enabling security and awareness and visibility of what's happening within those microservices, we have a lot of new features, including deploying the Citrix ADC itself as an ingress to the cloud native Kubernetes clusters, as well as being able to run the CPX natively in Kubernetes itself to extend all the rich features and capabilities of the Citrix ADC inside with microservices where you typically find something like HA Proxy or Nginx. All right, so this is the fun part of the webinar. We've come up toward the end, and this is where I get to thank you, the audience, for participating, and I get to reward a lucky winner here with the Samsung Galaxy smartwatch. So with that, get ready here. I'm about to ask a question. Before I ask the question, I'd like for you to open up the webinar dashboard and go down to the questions, the Q&A panel. I'll be looking for your answer in the Q&A panel. So with that, get ready. I'm going to ask a quick question here. It's not too recent, not too relevant to all the content. It's going to be a little bit more focused, but I think you'll be able to get the answer nonetheless. All right, so here's the question for those listening and ready to win the Galaxy Android smartwatch. All right, can you name the newest ADC feature that enables zero downtime upgrades? This is the newest feature that was introduced in our first topic today. And oh boy, there's quite a response. So it looks like the quick winner here, the first answer I've got is James T. James T, you are the lucky winner. Congratulations for answering the question. So the name of the newest ADC feature that enables zero downtime upgrades is in-service software upgrade. So that's our newest and most exciting feature. I think it really is a game changer, and we're actually the only player in the ADC business that offers this level of being able to do the upgrade with absolutely hitless service and zero downtime. Well, all right. Well, that brings us to the end of another networking masterclass, and it remains only to thank the fantastic crew of presenters. Thanks, Mayur and Vinod, for your time and for sharing with us today. And of course, thank you to our audience for sticking around and making this so much fun with your questions. I'm Dave, and until next time, we'll hope to see you in June, and if not, hopefully we can catch you at Synergy in May. Until next time, bye-bye.